Back in November 2021, I got a chance to play Elden Ring. It was the closed network test and we got pretty unfettered access to it without any time limits, but I was a little bit hesitant to play too much of that early game. It was very clear that this was a specially arranged version of that intro level where items weren't final, and I didn't want to really spend too much time getting to grips with the opening area and instead wanted to just get a feel for the gameplay. So I was a bit cautious with my preview, even though I do feel like even then I thought this could be the one. However, I've now had unfettered access to the opening 6 hours of the game, and this is it. This is the final preview before we get hold of the full game to bring you a review. But I'm pretty confident with the things I'm about to say to you because I got to see a lot of this game. Let's get on with it, shall we? 6 hours didn't feel like enough time with Elden Ring. Even at lunchtime I hastily scuffed down some eggs so I could get back to Margit the Fell Omen. I'd taken down Burial Tree Watchdog, the Beast Man of Faro Mazula, and even the Stone Digger Troll. Grave Warden had eaten the dust, as had the Demi-Human Chief and Pumpkinhead. In fact, I'd taken down every optional boss I could find aside from some of the ones that are clearly meant for you to come back to later. Or in other words, dragons. But Margit is a bastard. The old Souls thing rings true here. You can summon, but it won't make him any easier, there's just more of you for him to kill. I had attempted Margit 6 times already, each time I'd failed, so I went off to explore more of the world, but with an hour left with Elden Ring, I had to try again, and on my own this time. I had previously been using the NPC summon and the wolf spirits to cause distraction, but not this time. Instead, I used a single spirit that shoots poison at him, which he basically ignored. But this time he was going down. I found the secret, you see, and it's that jump button. Launching in when Margit stopped, a heavy attack with my sword would stagger him, and getting a critical attack to finish the fight was pure elation. I genuinely jumped out of my seat and shouted, "Fuck yeah!" But now I only have an hour left, and I've explored loads, but I want to know what's next. And this isn't my first time playing Elden Ring, as I say. I was lucky enough to be involved in the closed network test without any time restrictions that many others had, but I wasn't sure how much I wanted to explore. I wanted to understand Elden Ring, and more than ever, I think I do now. First things first, for those that are worried, Elden Ring is as hard as the other From Software games. But crucially, I think it also might be the most accessible as well. There's a map, waypoints, mid-dungeon checkpoints, in a Souls game. I couldn't beat Margit at first. Through my own experience with the other games developed by From Software, I was playing it like it was a Souls game. I was sword and board, barely using my weapon skills, hardly jumping in battle, forgetting that I could use stealth. What about Torrent, the horse? Why not use him to kite enemies away? Oh, but also Torrent can double jump and increase your mobility and access to the world. There isn't a health regain system like Bloodborne, but if you time a heavy attack right after blocking, you can stun your enemy. It feels similar timing-wise, and it means you have to study attack patterns so you can release your block at the right time. There are massive typical Souls-like dungeons in Elden Ring, and having beaten Margit, I can now confirm that. The story feels more welcoming too. There seems to be less lore hidden in dark corners and more just given to you via in-game cinematics and conversations. There are also smaller sections that feel a bit like Bloodborne's Chalice dungeons. There always seems to be a boss at the end, and often you'll have to explore the darkness to find a mechanism to open the door. I saw some really small examples of this, with a few enemies leading to a fog door boss, but I also saw far bigger dungeons, all optional, but all worthy. Sitting down to properly play Elden Ring, you start to see the systems all coming together. There's the Breath of the Wild exploration, which allowed me to work out that, at least partially, to upgrade your health flasks, you'll need to find churches. Each of these I found had an item that let me upgrade the amount of flasks I could use, and eventually getting more started to require 2 of those items. The weapon skills are badass too. I used entirely different builds, weapons and arts to my time with the closed network test and went for a more melee-based avatar instead of the magical class I chose back in 2021. More than anything, I can't get over how differently my 2 sessions with this game have been. The Tree Sentinel, a wandering optional boss, posed no threat when I was a mage. On the ground with his horse towering above me, he was a massive threat to my sword and board character. If there's one single thing that bugged me in my time with Elden Ring, it's that you have to press 2 buttons together to use your single-handed weapon. Yeah, wow, what a shitter, right? That's it. At one point, I was concerned about how weapon skills were awkward to use without single-handing your weapon. But then I discovered a guy who sold me skills, one of which lets you use the skill you want even if the other-handed weapon has a different skill. It sounds complicated, but it makes a lot of sense. I think this might be the one, folks. I can't stress that enough. I'm not going to spoil things here, but through some bad luck, I actually got to see more of the map than I think From intended me to see, and this game is huge. The enemy variety, the fact you can mix and match melee and magic. For the first time, this feels like a Souls-style game where everything is viable, but you always want to learn all the aspects because the enemies require it. I'd be absolutely stunned if people walked away feeling shortchanged here, because even 6 hours in, Elden Ring is magnificent. It's sprawling, deep, and almost certainly going to be many people's game of the year. The hype is real, the excitement is justified, and this is going to be something pretty special, you know. Thanks very much for watching the video version of our Elden Ring final preview. Next time you see us talking about this game is probably going to be the final version of the game and we're reviewing it. But if you do have any questions in the meantime, throw them in the comment section down below. Make sure you like, subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss another video. I would say that there are a lot of things I want to talk about right now that I've experienced, but I'm not going to because I don't want to spoil the experience for people who want to play it as relatively fresh as you can. I get it. I love these games too. I know how hard it is to just like pretend they don't exist until that you want to know. You want to know, and I do want to tell you. I'm not gonna, but I will answer any questions that I think aren't too spoilerific. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye bye for now.